What's up, everyone? It's Justin from Long Beach Mushrooms. We are making a video today about our humidification system. I had a specific request on one of our other videos around how did we set up our HART misting nozzles. So first of all, big shout out to Myers Mushrooms. It's where I bought all the HART. I bought this whole setup from them, from him. He makes it really easy, so you just go there, click on what you want, and then the whole package shows up. You can just order everything. And then really big shout out to Bear Valley Mushrooms, because he really helped walk me through step by step when I ran into some trouble. It's a really, really simple system once I kind of got my hands dirty and started working with what I need to work with. So it's a little bit, not intimidating at first, I just wasn't clear about how things went together, and then once I started going and I asked some questions, everything was great. So if y'all don't know what a HART misting nozzle is, it is that guy right there. We use it right now to humidify both of our grow rooms. Pros and cons of it, of course. The first con you can see is no matter how much I've adjusted the pressure, the water droplets are pretty big, so our floor does get wet. We have a good cycle though. I just turned it on right now, so we do have a pretty good watering cycle to where our floor will dry up before, our floor will dry up, so it's not like it's gonna flood the place. It'll dry up and then, yeah. So anyways, but I'm gonna show you today how I set it up, maybe give you some pros and cons, and let you know if it's worth doing or not, or if it's for you or not. So, yeah. All right, I'm gonna show you what the actual nozzle is before we set everything up. So it comes with, this is the main piece. It's a block, it's a misting head block. I don't know exactly what this is called, something adapter or another. So it comes with that. And then this is the actual spray nozzle. There's different ones. I believe there's like a wide spray and then like a more focused spray. This is a wide spray nozzle. So really simply, it has a gasket on it already. This is a dirty one. We take them apart, or we switch them out and clean them every once in a while. So you screw that on, use a wrench, get it tight. So now your nozzle, your misting nozzle is on there. And so there's these two holes. And these are really, really simple. One of them says liquid and one of them says air. So all you need to do is, what I had is I use these push connects for 1/4 inch lines. And I'll put one push connect on the liquid side, tighten it with the wrench. I'm not gonna do it right now, but tighten it with the wrench. I use an elbow for the air side. You don't have to, it's just how I set mine up. You don't have to use an elbow at all. But I like the elbow because it gives me like a certain angle when I set it up there. Some people mount theirs, like physically mount theirs. I don't actually mount mine at all. I just, you'll see how I do it. Anyways. So there's that. So now you have your nozzle, your adapter block, and then 2 push connect fittings. And it's really simple. All I have to do is run an air compressor line to the air side, and then I'll run a water line to the, oh, I mixed them up. I was right. Run a water line to one side and run the air compressed line to the other side. And then now I have a misting nozzle with the air and the water. What it does is it mixes up the compressed air and the water inside the adapter and then shoots out the nozzle. So that's like the basic function of a HART nozzle. This is the easy part, or this is like the really simple part, just putting the actual nozzle together. But the system itself is where I got a little bit confused. So obviously you have to run water to that nozzle. Obviously you have to run compressed air to that nozzle. But you also want to be able to control it. So you don't want the air and you need valves, because if air is running through it 24/7 and water's running through it 24/7, it's just gonna stay on. So I'm actually gonna climb up above my grow room right now and show you how we do it. I haven't been up here in a minute. All right. Okay, here we go. It's a little bit of a mess, bear with me. So, there's lines running, 1/4 inch lines running through that hole over there. Or, yeah, 1/4 inch lines running through that hole. One's water, one's compressed air. So in the grow room, it's connected and it's running out onto the top of my grow room. And then I have solenoid valves. So this is a solenoid valve right here. One end of the 1/4 inch line goes into one side, and the other end of the 1/4 inch line goes to the other side. What this does, it's a valve that I can control electronically. Oh, it's about to get loud in here because the misters are going to turn on. No, they're on a timer. That's the air compressor going off in the back corner right there. But anyways, solenoid valve, which turns, the valve turns on and off. So I have one for water and I have one for air for each misting nozzle. And then I also have a battery. Solenoid valve doesn't have any power on its own. It needs to get power. I'm gonna pick up once this air compressor turns on. Okay, so it's off now. So again, solenoid valve, one for water and one for compressed air. So if you see, this is my inline right here. This inline is actually connected to my water line. So this is feeding water right now. Then it goes to the solenoid valve, and then it goes out through the other end, and this end gets connected to the HART misting nozzle. This solenoid valve is connected to this 12-volt battery because it needs a energy source, an electricity source, to turn that valve on and off, to allow water to go in or not. This 12-volt battery is connected to my AC Infinity controller. The reason why it's connected to my AC Infinity controller is because now I can use an app to turn my water on and off, to do presets, to use whatever, like automate it however I want to do it. The same thing is happening with my compressed air. So again, I'm not going to go all the way over there, but I have a line, a 1/4 inch line running through of compressed air, running all the way up to my solenoid valve, which is back there. So compressed air line running through the solenoid valve. And then again, that solenoid valve has its own battery. And then there's the outline of the compressed air, and that outline runs to the misting nozzle. So each misting nozzle has one water line and one compressed air line running to it. Again, that solenoid valve connected to that battery is again connected to, oh, it's about to turn on again, connected to my AC Infinity controller. So like I said, I do not have, it's not mounted at all. The misters my misters in each room are a little bit different, but these ones are not mounted at all. All literally it is through that hole. So up on the roof is where I showed you the solenoid valve, or like the lines running, the solenoid valve, all that. And then the lines run to this misting nozzle. And then I literally just cut the lines so that the misting nozzle can dangle a little bit and it sprays out from there. If I were to do this differently, I would actually have these nozzles pointing down overhead and spreading out like that. But when I built this grow room, I didn't think about that. I didn't think I was going to have this misting system. I thought I was going to have House of Hydro only, or fog. So the ceilings in here are only, I think, 8 feet tall. So it's just not high enough for me to mount this so that it can spray downward. So what I have is I have it angled this way so it can spray out into the room. Pros, and I mean, that's what I have to do, but the con of that is it doesn't evenly shoot to the back side of the room. The front side is wetter than the back side. But if I throw fans in here and I mix up the water a little bit and mix up the air a little bit, everything is fine. Like you could tell, like we have happy mushrooms, you know, like there's golds, chestnuts down here. Let me see these chestnuts. Chestnuts down here. So, and here's a bunch of pinks that are pinning. So we still have happy mushrooms. We're not, you know, it's not the end of the world that it's not perfect, but that's what we have. So again, no mounting system. No mounting system at all. It's just set up dangling. So playback real quick. This is the misting nozzle. Up here, misting nozzle. One line is water, one line is air. Both those lines run up and above, up and through this hole, above my roof, and they're running like this down to here, where it meets the solenoid valve. And then there's one for each, pressure and water, or compressed air and water. So the water line goes to one solenoid valve, the compressed air goes to the other. I don't want to flick you guys off. The compressed air goes to the other solenoid valve, and those valves are powered by a battery that turns the valve on and off to open up the air and water. And then so through the solenoid valve, and then the inlet line is back there to my air compressor. There's an air compressed line running here to connect to the solenoid valve. And then there's a water line that runs from my kitchen all the way up to the water line. So that's the HART misting system. It's pretty straightforward. I thought it was harder than it really is, to be honest with you. I do want to show you the app that I use, the AC Infinity app, because it's great. Let me do that right now. I'll show you the AC Infinity app. So the AC Infinity app is the controller, or the AC Infinity is the controller that I use to control my misting system. So I don't know, it's probably going to be really hard to see. Let me see if I can figure this out. Okay. Not great, but there you go. So there's Grow Room 1 and Grow Room 2. If I click on Grow Room 1, right now I have it off. I turned it off on purpose because it was getting really annoying because it kept turning on while I was trying to make this video. But all I have to do is go from off to on, and it'll turn on. Boom. Misters are on. I'm going to turn it back off. It's cool because there are multiple settings, so I can use, we can use a timer setting. We can use an auto setting. What the auto setting does is allows you to use the probe to turn things on and off. It's not just for humidity. The probe also reads, I believe, temperature. So you can, use to control air conditioning or fans or things like that. But so if I were to hit auto, which I don't have a probe right now, it gives me like this temperature trigger or humidity trigger. So I could use a probe to turn things on and off. I don't do that. I actually use a cycle system. So my cycle system says on duration is 3 minutes, off duration is an hour. I don't want it to turn on right now. So if I hit cycle, it's going to be, what happens is it turns on for 3 minutes and then it stays off for an hour. That allows my floors to dry back up and then turn back on. So I'm going to hit cycle because I'm leaving. So it is on cycle right now. They just turned on. I can close the app. I don't have to worry about it anymore because it's going to do its own thing on its own cycle. That's the HART misting system. Let's go into the office and we can talk where it's a little more quiet. Okay. So I think that's the HART misting system. Again, I might be overkill, but let's play it back real quick. It goes from the HART nozzle. One line is compressed air. One line is water. Those lines each run to independent solenoid valves. Those solenoid valves are connected to a battery. Those batteries are connected to my AC Infinity controller, so I can control how I want them to turn on and off through an app. The back end of the solenoid valve feeds to the main line of the compressed air and the main line of the water. So compressed air runs from my air compressor. Water line runs from the water, there's a main line in my kitchen. So that's it. I just have to, now everything is connected. I never have to worry about water again. Never really have to worry about compressed air again. There are some more things. Right now, my RO system is not hooked up. I actually don't like the RO system that I'm using. It greatly decreases my water pressure because of the capacity that it's running. So I need a bigger RO system. So right now, I'm not even running RO water through my lines. I'm just running regular water from the tap. I know it's probably gonna, there's probably gonna be, I'm probably gonna have to change out my lines eventually, but it's just 1/4 inch line, like drip line. That is like $10 for 100 feet. It's so cheap. So when I need to change it out, I'm just gonna change it out. And once I get my RO system, then I probably never have to change it out, or very rarely. So right now I just run it with regular tap water. Quickly, pros and cons, or like the different humidity stages I've used. Let's say that. The first one is a really like a spritzer bottle, spray bottle. When I first started growing mushrooms, I just grew out of buckets. I had like a 2x2 or a 4x2 Martha tent, and I would just go in and hand spray it every day, multiple times a day, and that was my humidity system, the bare bones humidity system. The second thing I leveled up to was a House of Hydro fogging system, and I can show you in another video how to make one of those if y'all want. The House of Hydro misting system, I believe, is a great system for smaller grows. The pros of a House of Hydro misting system is the mushrooms love the fog. They love it way more than this. They just love it way more. They do better with the really, really fine particles of water. So that's the pro. The cons of it is there's a lot of maintenance for those House of Hydro foggers, or any foggers in general. You have to clean your reservoirs. You have to clean the actual humidification system. The ceramic discs in there burn out a lot, so there's constantly replacing those. The bad thing is if you don't pay attention to the ceramic discs getting burnt out, what will happen is the ability to create fog decreases with every disc going out. And then now you might get to a point I've gotten to the point where discs went out, I didn't notice it. So now the room never gets up to humidity because there's not enough fog getting created. So now my House of Hydro or my humidifier is on like 24/7, and then it burns out, and then I have to buy a new one, and that's $250. So that's a big con of the House of, or like any fogging system, is that it takes a lot of you have to pay attention, and it takes a lot of maintenance to keep those up and running. When they are running, they are great. That fine particle mist is way better for mushrooms, but when they break down, it's a pain. Now moving on to the HART system, pros and cons. We'll go cons first. So the cons are the water droplets are bigger, which means my floor gets wetter, which also means that my, like if I top fruited anything and they're sitting directly below the misters, they're gonna actually flood up because so much water runs through. What else? What's another con? The water droplets are bigger, so I guess you could be more susceptible to like bacterial blotch diseases and stuff like that, but I haven't found that to be the case. I had really bad blotch, but it had nothing to do with my HART misters. The pros of the HART misters, very minimal maintenance. I swap out my misting heads every once in a while and clean them. I have an extra pair, so I just put one up and then take the other one down and clean it and then set it on the shelf and wait for the time when I have to switch. They are actually relatively cheap. Like once I got everything that I needed, if I have to do maintenance, like those ceramic discs are actually pretty expensive once you start counting them up. And if you have to replace them every like 2 months or whatever. Here, if something goes wrong, I just have to replace that 1/4 inch line, and that 1/4 inch line, like I said, it's $10 for like 100 feet. So super cheap to stay up with maintenance. The pros also is there's no like reservoir needed per se. So reservoirs took up square footage in my grow room when I used to do it, or if not, then it would take up square footage somewhere else in the farm. So there's no reservoir needed for this. It's direct line from our water source. And yeah, I don't know if I could recommend the HART misters enough. I really do like them. I think they're There might be other misting nozzles that I haven't looked into that I might like better, but as far as like the misting nozzle, high pressure misting nozzle system goes, I really, really like HART. There's another system that I looked into. I think it was an Aeromist, and then with an Aeromist, you need like a pump, and then you have to oil the pump, and there's all this. Like, the air compressor is so much easier to use to me than having to manage that pump. And the cool thing about an air compressor is I can use it for other things if I need to. And then I also, like before I even bought this air compressor that is just for my HART misting nozzles, I had an air compressor, so I could just test it. So anyways, HART misting nozzles are great. That's how I set them up. If you have any further questions, let me know. Like I said, I can't recommend them enough. They work really well. They're easy to maintain. And when my farm expands, I'm most likely just going to expand the system out. Use the same system over multiple rooms. Anyways, I'm Justin from Long Beach Mushrooms. Hope this helped y'all a little bit. Again, if it's something that you like, make sure, or if it's something that helped you, make sure you like the video. Shoot me a comment if you have any questions. Again, I do teach a mushroom farm school, so if you're interested in starting your own farm and you're not really sure where to begin, hit up our website, check us out, book a 15-minute exploratory call with me, and we can talk through if I can help you or not. Other than that, peace out. Thanks, y'all. One thing that I forgot to talk about is how freaking sensitive these toggles are for this app. So before I close it, like, sometimes before you close an app or something, you just accidentally swipe or you accidentally touch it. Like, look how easy it is to switch. Now, all of a sudden, my on duration is 11 hours and 3 minutes. So always, and then that will cause a flood. So always, always, always check your app before you close it. So I'm back down to just 3 minutes. Back out. I'll also check this one. Yep, on for 3 minutes. Back it out, and then close the app completely. Don't leave it open. Don't leave it open. From experience, if you do not, like if you're not paying attention and you toggle around too much, you might accidentally have your misters on for 3 hours instead of 3 minutes, and then you're gonna flood out your farm. So pay attention to that. Just letting you know, because it's happened to me before. All right, y'all. Peace.